scammer. You wake up one morning and decide you're too smart to work a normal job. Why would you waste 40 years in an office when you could just convince some guy in Ohio that you're a Nigerian prince who needs help moving $15 million? You start small. Fake concert tickets, a couple of dodgy eBay listings, maybe an investment opportunity that's really just your bank account. Then you branch out. A pyramid scheme, a fake charity, maybe even a whole Shopify store selling products that don't exist. Before you know it, you've mastered the art of taking money from strangers without ever meeting them. Then one day you hit it big. You set up a fake luxury watch business, slap some stock photos on Instagram, and start selling $10,000 Rolexes for $7,500. The orders flood in, your bank balance explodes, and you can't believe people are still falling for it. Everyone hates scammers, but they also kind of admire the hustle. Right up until the FBI knocks on your door at 4 a.m. and suddenly you're explaining to your cellmate how you once sold thin air for 6 figures. The inventor. You're sitting in your garage at 2 a.m. surrounded by half-broken appliances, empty Red Bull cans, and all you can smell is burning plastic. Most people would look at a pile of junk and see, well, a pile of junk. But you see the next big thing. You've already failed with the self-toasting bread knife and the solar-powered flashlight, but this time feels different. You cobble together a weird-looking prototype using duct tape, spare wires, and an old blender motor, and somehow it works. You slap a ridiculous name on it, post a video online, and overnight it goes viral. Suddenly, big companies are calling you with offers in the millions to buy your idea, and you have no idea how to even respond. 1 month later, you're rich, famous, and giving TED Talks about innovation, conveniently leaving out the part where your billion-dollar idea was born because you accidentally glued the wrong parts together. Pro gamer. Your parents told you playing video games all day would never make you money. Now you're sitting in a $4,000 gaming chair with a PC that is worth more than a car. You are racking up sponsorship deals for pressing buttons really fast. When you first started, you were playing with your mates in your bedroom, streaming to an audience of 3 people, you, your mate, and Nightbot. But then you got good, really good. You carried your friend to third on an online tournament, then another, and suddenly you've actually got a decent teammate. You guys get flown out to an arena where thousands of screaming fans are watching you frag strangers on a giant screen. You're earning more from prize money, merch, and brand deals than your parents did in their best year combined. And the best part? All those hours they called wasting time were actually career development. Now you never have to touch grass and can game all day without anyone telling you it's a bad idea. Lawsuit lottery winner. When people ask what you do, you tell them you're a lawyer at a local firm because it sounds respectable. But the truth is you've never studied law a day in your life. Your career started the afternoon you fell down the stairs at McDonald's. You hired a personal injury attorney, claimed the stairs were unsafe, and spent months in court listening to real lawyers argue over the angle of a handrail. You sat there in a suit, nodding like you understood the legal jargon, while secretly wondering if you'd win enough to pay off your car. Then one day the verdict came in. McDonald's had to cut you a settlement so big you've been coasting ever since. Now you introduce yourself as working in law, even though the closest you've ever been to practicing it was signing the NDA at the end of the trial. Freelancer? You like to tell people you're self-employed, which is just another way of saying you've beaten the system. No boss, no commute, no pointless Monday meetings. Just you, your laptop, and the freedom to work from anywhere. You started with small gigs, a bit of writing here, a logo design there, but it didn't take long before you were charging real money for work you could do in sweatpants. Now you wake up when you feel like it, take lunch breaks that last 3 hours, and work from beaches, coffee shops, or your bed if you feel like it. You set your own rates, pick your own clients, and never have to ask permission to take a day off. Sure, sometimes you're still working at 2 a.m., but that's only because you decided to spend the whole afternoon doing absolutely nothing, and you love it. Politician. You realize one day that making money doesn't always mean earning it. Sometimes it just means getting elected. You started small, shaking hands, kissing babies, and promising things you have no intention of delivering. You run for a local seat, win by a landslide, and suddenly you're collecting a government paycheck for sitting in meetings and nodding at things you don't understand. The salary looks decent, but the real money, that comes later. Campaign donations that just happen to stick around. Inflated consulting fees from friends of friends, and those property deals that conveniently go through companies owned by your family. Every speech you give is carefully polished to sound inspiring, but vague enough that it could mean anything. You learn to speak for 20 minutes without actually saying a single concrete thing, and somehow that skill alone keeps you in office for decades. By the time you retire, you've gone from broke idealist to millionaire public servant. Half the people still think you did it for them, while the other half can't prove otherwise. You spend the rest of your days sitting by the pool in your mansion. Drug dealer. You figure out early on that supply and demand works a lot faster when your product is addictive. When you first start, all you do is a few sales here and there to friends. You move on to the club bathrooms where you pretty much force unwilling people to buy from you. But then the word spreads. Your friend's friend needs some ASAP. Suddenly you're making more in a weekend than most people make in a month, and all you had to do was answer a few late-night calls and meet people in parking lots. You upgrade your car, your clothes, and your phone, and everyone assumes you just have a good job. The truth is, your office is the backseat of your car, and your business hours are whenever someone's desperate enough to pay double. It's risky, sure. One wrong move and you're in handcuffs. But the money's so fast it feels like the rules don't apply to you. You tell yourself it's just temporary, a quick way to stack some cash. But deep down you know that once you've had a taste of this kind of money, a normal paycheck will never feel the same. Investor. When you were younger, you realized that the real money isn't in working harder. It's in making your money work for you. You start with a little savings, maybe a few shares in a company your dad told you was good, and suddenly you're hooked. The charts become your friend, every dip looks like an opportunity, but you're very scared to buy, and every gain makes you feel like a genius. You diversify between stocks, real estate, maybe even a few risky plays in startups your friends have never heard of. Some bets crash, others explode, but the wins easily outweigh the losses. Your goal is earning more from passive income than you ever did at your old job, and your workday now consists of checking numbers on your phone between rounds of golf. People think you're lucky, but you know it's part skill, part patience, and part ignoring the urge to panic sell. Even though you have made it, you still get the urge to panic sell the dips and buy more at all-time highs. But at least you've made it now. Online degenerate. You've somehow turned wasting time on the internet into a full-time income. It started with harmless late-night scrolling, when you kept seeing this character you'd never seen before. Big eyes, lopsided smile, bright green skin. The captions just say Zoggle. You ignore it at first, but then you see it again, and again, and again. Every video is Zoggle dancing, Zoggle driving a Lambo, Zoggle holding stacks of cash. It's hilarious and everywhere. You finally cave, click the link in someone's bio, and realize it's a meme coin. You decide to throw in $200 because that money was just going into Sportsbet anyways. After a week of constant doom scrolling and watching Netflix, you see a TikTok post about Zoggle the coin and realize that you actually own some. You open up your wallet, and your Zoggle is still worth $200, but when you refresh, you can't believe your eyes. Your $200 is now worth 7 figures. You have no idea how or why it happened, but somehow you've gone from a random guy on TikTok to an accidental millionaire. All because a smiling green blob wouldn't leave your feed. You decide to cash out half and leave half in, just because you love Zoggle himself. But you needed money for Uber Eats, Sportsbet, and Chrome Hearts. Course seller. You figure out pretty quickly that it's easier to make money teaching people how to make money than actually making it yourself. So you build a proven system based on a few buzzwords you stole from other people's content, slap it into a PDF, and start calling yourself a mentor. You film some videos in front of a rented Lamborghini, throw in shots of a laptop by a pool, and tell people they can escape the 9-to-5 if they just follow your steps. The course sells for $499, but you offer a limited time discount every single day of the year. Before long, strangers are wiring you thousands for information they could have Googled for free, and you're making more from selling the dream than you ever did chasing it. Deep down, you know most of your students will fail, but that's fine. Every failure just makes them more likely to buy your next course.